If you look at carpenter, they have their toolbox. A dentist, they have their drills. In our area of teaching and the type of work we do, the tool we mostly need is centered around being able to give and receive feedback. Human has been talking about feedback for centuries. Feedback is a lifelong learning skill, and that is something we can probably need in our family life and in our workplaces. Feedback is all around us, but we all know it can be difficult to give feedback, and sometimes it can be difficult to receive feedback. Over the past decades, there has been rapid explosion of research on feedback. And I think one of the reasons is uncertainties students, teachers, and industries is facing. Because technology is changing the way we work, live, give, and receive feedback. The rate of change is intensifying. Students' current skill acquisitions path through higher education, on-job learning, and self-learnings are not adapted to new pace of technological change. As a result, there is gap between skills students possess and skills business requires. This gap is increasing. For example, our recent survey of industry professionals in Norway revealed a growing gap between skills students are learning and skills they need to succeed. More than 96% of the survey respondents said they face barriers when looking for a job. More than 64% of university says that work experience requirements are the largest barriers in finding a work. More than 78% of surveyed CEOs agreed that collaboration is here and stay for the long run. The results from National Student Survey of Norway also shows that over 60% of students think that they lack connection with the work life, they lack opportunities to work on real business problems, they lack collaborations and feedback opportunities from industry professionals. Interestingly, more than 50% of students are dissatisfied with the feedback they receive from their teachers and their fellow students. Similarly, according to the National Student Survey of UK 2022, the assessment and feedback is least satisfying elements of the undergraduate experience. So, what is the solution? A quick fix or ideas around feedback. One way to solve this problem is design a feedback that promotes a learning environment and reduces skills gap. So the current research and practice around feedback is two ways of design. That is feedback from the teacher to students and a feedback from fellow students. However, based on discussions earlier, there is a strong need to introduce feedback from industry professionals. And from now on, I will briefly go through 3 ways video feedback design based on existing literature. So first, teachers' feedback. One of the top scholars in formative feedback is Sadler, and I quite like his quote about difficulties of teachers telling form of feedback and how often they do not connect students or enable students to move forward. Another major concern is commenting, grading, or feedback is amount of time teachers sometimes spend on marking student work and comments. And I think Bond and Mole makes a very useful point here, that it is not worthwhile spending so much time on commenting unless students are actually going to use information that teachers are providing. There is a need to connect feedback with industry-based problems so that students can see connections between their points and how they will be applied in real world. So this will also increase the impact that students has on the real world. Another famous assessment scholar is Dylan William, and he always says that feedback should be more work for the students than it is for the teacher. Perhaps if we reflect on our own teaching practice, it is rarely the case. So, if we can work around on how we can use our time more effectively in feedback, and we can increase the impact and reduce our workload. Recently, video-based feedback research and practice has exploded, particularly during COVID-19 pandemic period. The idea is that video is much more rich and transmits much more information than text, images, and audio alone. Video can help establish a teaching presence, build meaningful connections between teachers and students, and can lead more interactive and collaborative assessments. So, based on these discussions, I propose that teacher video feedback leads to more connections between teachers, students, which in turn leads to an increase in students' upskilling. Secondly, student-to-student video feedback. The idea is that students produce comments for the other students. This way, students can increase their social presence, more engagements, more collaborations, and greater sense of community among students. Additionally, students or peer feedback promotes deep learning, as learners compare their own work with the work of others to generate internal feedback, and also students can learn from other students. I believe there is a need for students to connect and work with the industry professionals to solve business problems in more timely manner and according to the predefined guidelines. It can be done by asking industry professionals to come up with the problem and make a video to explain business problem and provide students with the video feedback on the go. So these real business interactions between professionals and students can be achieved through real world problem solving and working closely with the industry. Bertalo argued that it is not about what teachers do, but what learning opportunities they create. As a good teacher, we must create more learning opportunities for the students. For example, helping students to build valuable connections and relationship with business community and society, and arrange internship for them so that they receive feedback from more knowledgeable others in the field. So, students need time and opportunities to practice, use, and apply what they have learned. The key to learning and providing better learning opportunity for students is by taking what we know through research and apply it into practice. Connecting students with the industry will also reduce our workload. As a teacher, now I again quote Dalen Williams, feedback should be more work for the students than it is for the teacher. Finally, feedback from industry professionals may provide important learning opportunities for keeping up to date and avoiding skill gaps in the future. To put very simply, industry professional feedbacks help students to stay aware of real-world challenges and the skill required for the future work. Therefore, I propose that connecting students to the industry professionals leads to more collaborations on solving business problems, which in turn leads to more awareness about work of future, and which in turn leads to an increase students' upskilling. So, here are 4 key takeaways from this video. Number 1. According to the survey, more than 50% of the students are not satisfied with the feedback they receive from teachers and fellow students. So put simply, feedback is the least satisfactory element of their undergraduate experience. Our reason could be that two-way feedback design does not adapt it to new pace of technological change. This in turn does not promote students' upskilling. One way to solve this problem is by designing 3-way video feedback. 3-way videos feedback journey that will lead to more connections between teachers and students